It's that time of the year again. Hanukkah. But it is also Christmas. And I've been thinking of making a tiny little Santa's workshop. But first of all, I don't know about you, but I think it's a little bit dark in here. Perfect.
Okay, I'm not even going to pretend I recorded that with July in mind. I've been a little bit busy doing some of my own stuff. It's fine though. My mom suggested the idea of Christmas in July and I was all aboard. Also, installing those lights was a little bit harder than it probably should have been. Anyway, what you see me doing here is I'm cutting out a bunch of little sticks so I can make Santa's house, and I need to find a new method. They're going everywhere.
New method.
And thankfully, new method is found. Okay,
Doesn't go flying.
with all of the cutting out of the way, we can finally move on to the building. Now that I finished what is that? 5 of the platforms, we can finally start building up in this amazing time lapse. I'm still experimenting with time lapses, so you can let me know if they're too short or too long. I had to time lapse this time lapse, and it still went by pretty slowly, so I'm still learning. What you can see I'm doing here is I'm marking out and cutting out windows and doors, so it's more of a house that you can actually get in, you know? There you can see the house and also the door I made. For the ceiling, everything was looking a little bit too flat and boring, so I had to change things up so it was still entertaining to look at and not just flat, because you can't have that. Also, I was mistaken. I had to cut out each of these ceiling pieces and it took so long. I was mistaken by a lot, but hey, it's done now, and it looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, there's still tons of cleanup that I have to do, but hey, we have a chimney. You can't go wrong with a chimney, right? We also have a fireplace, and hey look, there's the door again. You were missing it. I know I was. After all those things appear, I can apply them to the inside and bottom of the house, and while we wait for it to dry, we can music it up. If there's anything stranger than that intermission, it's the fact that my camera decided to record upside down for that singular shot. I'm using an LED from a tea light for the fireplace in the house. It already has a little flicker in it, and I think it's perfect. Because I'm clearly struggling trying to open this, let's move on to me trying to poke a hole. Except I seem to be struggling with that too. Let's move back, yeah. So, yeah, we finally got it open. The hole you saw me try to poke earlier was where the LED was going to go. And now that we got it out, we can finally move on. And the strange thing about this LED is normally long is positive and short is negative, but while I was wiring this, it's actually the other way around. After giving the house an Hey look, there's the door again. A nice black base coat. I can bring up the color progressively with lighter and lighter brown dry brushes. My dad helped me build this nice wooden base for everything to sit on, and personally, I think it looks pretty good. It matches the scale of everything perfectly, and oh, hey, look, there's the door again. As for what's gonna sit on it is a bunch of foam. It's gonna be foam. Of course it's gonna be foam. As I'm building up the terrain, you may realize that it doesn't look like it's gonna go up gradually, but more like blocky. And that's right, that's how I want it. I want cliff edges, but to sell them more like cliff edges, I'm going to have to use a tool that no parent wants their kid to have in their bedroom, but I do. A box of X-Acto knives. With these, I'm just carving out little horizontal lines. To create a really rocky rock texture on the rocks, I can use a rock to create a rocky rock texture on the rocks until they look more like rocks and not like foam rocks. In the tiny little brain of mine, I decided that I wanted a tiny little waterfall trickling down one of the ledges, and unfortunately this is not something I could find out a fancy little rock could solve, so I had to go back to the X-Acto knives. Before I add water to this barren landscape, I'm gonna seal everything off with some plaster. Mixing together plaster, Mod Podge, water, and paint, we've basically got a thinned out version of what we applied inside of the house. This stuff truly works wonders, and it's amazing and so simple. After that is sufficiently mixed up, I can apply it to the base, and I also like to apply it on the sides so it hides the seam between layers. After the base is dry, we can finally move on to the well-awaited water, and I lost the footage, so here's me miming it. I also created movement and ripples in the water by moving the hot glue gun back and forth. Because the rocks are already around the color that I need them, I just dive straight into the washes. This will seep into the lower areas while I wipe off the higher areas, and then we can move on to the water. I pretty much just paint everything a light blue and just paint white wherever I think white would be in a frozen river, which is actually pretty much the same as a dry brush. And then I can apply gloss Mod Podge, gloss, not matte, and then it'll add a nice shine. I can momentarily put the house in place so I can find out where the wiring should go. And speaking of, I've got a black wire and a white, wait, most people use red, but it's whatever. After double checking that the wires fit, I can solder the negative to the negative and then the positive to the positive and test out my circuit. If you remember when I covered the base with plaster, you may recall that I made a lot and probably didn't use up all of it, so this is where the rest of it went, a rock. My hands are a little bit tired after meticulously taking off that tinfoil, so I think it's time for a game.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah! Come on, you're too good at this. Hold on, one more round, okay? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah! One more round. See, best out of 3. I can still win. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah!
After disposing of the evidence, we can paint up these rocks. Shasha, look at those fingers. Anyways, we will paint up these rocks with progressively lighter and lighter dry brushes until they look like this. I think they look pretty good. Additionally, I also bought these really cool trees, and they're pretty good, but the flocking keeps on coming off. So, to solve that, I paint them with Mod Podge to seal everything in. Ignore what's behind it. Ignore. Anyway, I'm also not gonna cut off the little root system, even though usually I would. It's all gonna be under a layer of snow, so it's fine. Okay, I lied. Only this one is going to be cut because it's at an angle. I got a little switch here, and this is how I'm gonna turn the entire diorama on and off. I think I'm doing this in a rather clever way, and I already cut out 2 holes in the base for the wires to go through, so we can move on. Here you can see me lift up the house because I need to get snow close and around it, and this is just the easiest way to do it. This snow is made out of a 1-to-1 ratio of Mod Podge and synthetic snow, and let me tell you, it works like a wonder. Along with the rocks, I also made 2 ladders and a bench off camera. Apparently. This was a very long, messy, and time-consuming process, so if you're gonna do this, just keep that in mind. It gets everywhere. This entire project took me the entire month of December, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope you're having a lot of fun watching it, so thank you so much. Among all the newly white snow around the house, I thought it was looking a little bit bald, so I had to add a little bit more. Okay, you see, Santa Claus doesn't actually need to make toys anymore. He's hired so many elves that they can just do it for him. So, Santa Claus needs a place to just sit back and relax with his wife. Actually, the both of them were just sitting on this bench right here. You just barely missed them. Okay, thank everything holy, that is done. That was so messy, so long, and I'm just glad it's over. Now we can move on to the final steps before the glamour shots. But before those steps, I have to clean up my workstation, and I have to wait for it to dry. You don't have to do that, but I'm gonna pass the time by filling out an in and out activity fun. It's supposed to be fun activity. The base is dry, but that's not the base, hold on. Yeah, the base is dry. And if you're wondering, that in and out fun pack is about don't bully, so don't bully, guys. Anyways, after stuffing the wires through, I can glue the base down to the base, and I can test out my circuit again. Okay guys, I'm not the best solderer in the world, like, at all. I'm pretty bad, I probably should get lessons, but that might explain what happened in the next clip.
Oh my gosh. I caught myself on the same thumb with 2 things in a row. First, I caught myself right about there with soldering iron, and then right there with the hot glue gun. This thing is hot. Don't get fooled. It is a good hot glue gun. Oh my gosh. Same thumb. Oh my gosh. But it's done. It looks nicer than it did before.
Guys, I was probably so tired when I recorded that because I don't remember a thing. I don't even remember those scars because they're gone now. Tired Travis is something else. But with the holy grail of Mod Podge, I can dab it on in extra places so it gets more coverage. And oh, it's snowing. No, it's the fake snow. But it really creates a loose snow more than like packed. And after painting the sides with black, I can stain the wood and it's onto the glamour shots. Except, forgot a confession. I tried to do smooth transition with a chain, but it didn't work, so feel free to make fun of me. As much as you want in the short, or this one, I don't care. Thank you so much for watching, and I know you're probably sick of Christmas music, so here's a song literally called Spring just for you. Bye, thank you so much.